We live! How you doing, guys? Let me see here. All right, so welcome to the July TDBJ. I can't even say my own business. TDBJ live stream. I have some questions sent in that I will go to on my phone when I don't have a question from people that are live. So we got to kind of go from there. Hope you guys are doing great. Enjoying the July workouts. They're all killer. All you got to do here is type your question in the comment section here, and I will answer. Let me start with, since we don't have one yet, let me start with a question from Jay-Z. It's not the rapper, it's Jay-Z. MetsGuy5 at G. I'm sorry, MetsGuy5. I don't want to give you your. Sorry, I'm already messing this up. Hey, BJ, I think you've gotten this question before, but I don't remember the answer. Any opportunity for members to get in a workout with you in person? So you are dealing with an extreme introvert, antisocial weirdo, eccentric. So let me just tell you, like, you don't want to work out with me. I train solo. I always have since college because training with people was not good for me. I'm too competitive, and it got me injured, got me doing stupid things, and I'm very private, antisocial, and intense during my workout. So you would definitely not, Jeff McDaniel, what's up, buddy? You definitely would not want to train with me. I can't have people here in my current space due to leasing agreements. So it just won't work out. I also don't do events because I'm a hermit. So I do think in general, you're going to probably enjoy me from a distance. You know, it's not only that I enjoy people from a distance. I think you'll enjoy me from a distance. It might be too much. You don't want to deal with me in person. So I appreciate, honestly, I'm honored that you want to work out with me, but there is no current possibility of doing so. And yeah, I apologize. I don't think, I think meeting me will be disappointing. It is to most people who do so. So I'll go to the next question here. Jeff McDaniel, hope we're doing well, man. By the way, Jeff McDaniel still talks shit about beating me in a horse game at an event in Arizona. I did not bring my A game. I'm also more of a D and a rebound guy. So, I'm not a shooter. Never really was. Actually, I was at one point when I was really into basketball, like around 8th grade. I actually could shoot the ball pretty well, had a good mid-range game. But, then it just kind of evolved into just pure power and work ethic. So that's what it is, man. It better go on your resume. It better go on your resume. Brandon Einstein asked, best thing about leaving Men's Health? I recently read an article where they referenced you. The best thing about leaving Men's Health is everything, in my opinion. Again, just knowing me, like, Men's Health was an opportunity. I had consulted with them 5 years before the 2 years I worked there. I much preferred the consulting role. It was also, the company was going a lot better during my consulting role. They kind of brought me on, I think, as a last-ditch effort to try to, get the company moving in the right direction, since all publishing brands are basically dying and struggling to maintain their market share. And frankly, most people now go to get information from influencers and personalities anyway. Brands are really struggling to stick in the game. But I beat to my own drum. I don't like being told what to do. I like making my own decisions. And whether I'm qualified to do so or not isn't really the point. That's just how I operate. So when there were a lot of chefs in the kitchen, when you have people that I would consider not qualified to give input in certain situations, I'm someone who is, I know how to start something from scratch. I've done it over and over in my career, and I've running small businesses with my wife. Like, we got to do it all. You got to wear all the hats. So there's just certain things that I think journalists can't really appreciate because they're writers and they're excellent writers, but they don't know how to market, message, communicate, really build content, I think, that resonates with the masses, or have a voice that's appealing to people because they don't live it. They don't walk the walk. And, that's a big part of it. Honestly, the biggest thing too was the guy who hired me, Bill Phillips, was let go a year into my stay there. Things are going really well, and then they brought in a guy who wanted to do the exact opposite of what we had been doing the year I was there. We were like exploding on the digital side. We had one video get like 46 million views on Facebook. It added 1 million people to the Men's Health Facebook page in 48 hours. We're rolling. And then they brought, and the mission was, let's own fitness. And then they brought a new guy with no qualifications who had failed at every place he was before, including Men's Health. He actually was at Men's Health in the past and lost a lot of money making apps. Side note, he wanted to make it general interest and make fitness a very small part of what the brand did, and then go more into style and food. And look, everybody has their own opinion, but obviously it hasn't worked. And so basically I wasn't needed there anymore, and I could do better on my own. And I got basically what I wanted out of the situation, which was more people that I could reach. And now I'm doing my own thing. I'm loving my life, playing video games. I mean, like, I don't know, man. It's I didn't know life could be this good. So it's all part of the process. But really, it's identifying like I'm just not someone who works well with other people unless I absolutely have to. And if it would be something where I do a collaboration, which I rarely ever do, they'd have to really complement something that I do. I like to do my own thing, you know, like I'm just not a collaboration guy. I'm kind of a one-man show, but with one man, one woman, with my wife. She kind of compliments me on the stuff I don't do well. And so long way of answering, but the best thing about it really is just going back to what, like, I was an entrepreneur my whole life. So it was a difficult 2 years working in a corporate setting and having to like groupthink everything, and things went really slow. You lose the agility. You lose a lot. You really do. So it is what it is. Jeff, you know how it is, man. Jeff runs his own business. All right, let me go to the next question here. There you go. Matthew Magner says, I agree, Captain Marvel, disappointing. It was. It was just flat. It was a flat performance. I think we all can agree, especially because, you know, Marvel for about 3 or 5 years there really was setting the bar with some high-end films and such. So I think we all can agree it wasn't their best performance. But I had someone say, oh, you're whatever. You're wrong. Let me go to the next question here. So guys, any questions you have, just post it. I'll answer. Give you a shout out. We got one from PMerc83. So it's a longer one. Thanks for the chance for Q&A. I took your advice, and I'm helping a coworker start his fitness. Not sure if I gave that advice, but good. He's not physical at all, except for work. It's not Compton, by the way. Malibu is like the new Compton. Helicopters everywhere. I took your advice, and I'm helping a coworker start his fitness. I've had him doing the elliptical in the morning, and he's been crushing his time, but he's been taking his time, but he's crushing it, trying to, whoa. So he doesn't have a heart attack. So what should I have him do following the initial shock in cardio? I'm confused here. Okay, well, anytime you want to start, I'm like dripping. I also just showered. Here's the thing. If you work out and then take a hot shower, you're just asking for it. You're not gonna not sweat the rest of the day. Anyway, the best way to start someone with cardiovascular work is aerobic base. It really is. Like getting them starting with like 20, 30 minutes consecutively every week, adding 5 to 10 minutes so they can do a full hour nonstop, and keeping their heart rate ideally around 150 BPM. Let's say 130 to 150. You know, everybody's different based on age, fitness level, but that is the best way to build up the aerobic base. And the aerobic base is so important because the longer you can rely on that, you know, because your anaerobic energy stores are limited. Your aerobic base, like you can go forever off your aerobic system. So you want to rely on it as long as possible, because once you cash out your anaerobic, you're done. Like that's when people conk out. So the aerobic system is really designed to make it so that you only tap into the anaerobic when you absolutely need to, so you can keep going, you have more stamina. And it's a good way just to condition your cardiovascular system and prevent overwhelming yourself. Like going into intervals right away for a lot of people is going to be tough regardless, because they won't be able to use the intensity needed to really dramatically spark their heart rate anyway. So I think, you know, a simple volume progression, starting with 15 to 20 minutes, adding 5 to 10 minutes per week, and then eventually building out to doing a full hour of nonstop is a great way to just improve cardiac output and get it going. Number 2, for me, I do MetaShred and MetaShred Extreme. I would just get rid of those. Those are old programs. I have no involvement with Men's Health anymore. I get a lot of people complaining about like fulfillment issues with those things. I think they actually discontinued MetaShred Extreme, and I have nothing to do with it. So I can't guarantee that it's going to be a good experience. I also know it's not my latest, greatest stuff. All my latest and greatest stuff is at thedailybj.com. And if you're looking for muscle building and a higher end coaching program, GorillaCornGains.com. So, but he says, my stomach isn't going away. I also do cardio, and I'm a letter carrier that walks 10 miles a day. So I'm pretty active. You're super active. Like, that's crazy levels of activity. What do you recommend I do? Obviously, my coworker is also a letter carrier. So, it's funny. I've got I'm tight with all our letter carrier mailmen here. They're great dudes, and like every one of these guys has the best fucking calves I've ever seen. This one dude in particular, he's got Achilles tendonitis. I was giving him some tips, but I'm like, first time I saw him, like, just so you know, I would kill for those calves. I would kill, and so great calves. I probably should get advice from them. But so obviously, it's not a question of activity for you. You're doing a shit ton of activity, and adding more really wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. As long as you're doing, to me, like the gold standard is general fitness, 3 whole body Metcon style workouts a week, about 30 minutes in length. Off days, maybe you could add some additional cardiovascular aerobic work for 30 to 60 minutes. But daily, you're doing about 30 to 60 minutes of movement outside of the gym is critical. So obviously you've hit that goal. So now we got to look at the nutrition. Is there excessive sugars you can kind of look to eliminate in the diet? Can we get more protein? Can we, lock in the portion sizes a bit more? So really what it comes down to is fine tuning the diet at that point. And then also understanding too, like, I do this for a living. I've been at it for a long time. And, like I still like, unless I am like super dialed in, and I just, especially with the weed, I eat too much on the weekends. I do, like, but I enjoy it. And the level of sacrifice to like cut out all the fun I have on the weekend to get to like the last bits. I'm trying to slowly wean it down. There's room for improvement, but at some point, like, if I have a little bit of flab in my low belly, my love handles, I can deal with that. And this is what I do for a living. So, a lot of this is genetic. A lot of it's age. A lot of it's how much sacrifice are you willing to make, or that's worth it for you to get to that next level. Also, the leaner you get, the more the stuff that's left over stands out. Like when you got like shredded arms and developed legs and good shoulders, and you have like a little bit of fat like that's just stuck on your belly, because for you it's like it's all genetically predetermined fat pattern. If it's the last stuff on your body, it's going to stand out even more, especially when you've lost you're leaner everywhere else. So you've got veins here, right? Like you can be shredded here, like you can still pinch an inch. So it'll look almost more exaggerated than it would otherwise. So again, I'm not trying to develop like this loser mentality of like be okay with being mediocre. But the thing is, you're not mediocre. You're already just the amount of activity you're doing has put you at an alien level of activity. You are an alien in today's modern sedentary society. The amount of shit you're doing daily, day in, day out. So now you're comparing yourself to the other aliens, and some aliens have better genetics than others. Some aliens have more, they're younger, or they have the better schedule, or they know more about it, and they do fitness for a living. So there's more accountability there. They're smarter about how they do things. So, obviously look at the diet, look at your sleep. And, I've got plenty of nutrition episodes in the podcast. I'm going to be adding one. It's been on the docket for 2 weeks. I just haven't been able to motivate myself to do it, frankly. Hopefully I do it this afternoon, but it's the best way to start a diet. And I think it's sort of, especially if many of you have asked nutrition stuff on the daily basis, since we just focus on the fat loss workouts, this will be a very good podcast to just help you know exactly what diet I recommend. There's some options, and it just like, it's going to be a really quality episode of way to approach a sustainable way to eat for lean, a lean lifestyle. I think you'll enjoy it. So stay tuned for that as well. Let me see what we got here. Matthew says the worst of their 20 plus films. I agree. Yeah, I would agree too. How do you think your training will change as you age? Brandon, I'll get to your boxing question too. I got another from Matthew. We'll get into it, guys. So I'm 36 now. I'm going to be 37 in a couple months, September 17th. And already the shift that I'm starting to see for myself is I am like completely past the days of like extreme volume and making myself like super sore. I'm done. Like I just can't function like that anymore. I'm like, it takes 3 to 5 days to feel normal again. And, losing function for the next couple of days, like I'm beyond that. So one thing we do in Gorilla Core and Gains, like I still do the metabolic stacks, right? So I just found the perfect dose. So instead of doing like 3 to 5 rounds of something, we do 2, because I think 2 is like after 2 exposures to something with good amount of intensity. And it's interesting too, like some of you may not know who this is, but like OG in strength and conditioning, Ian King, Australian strength coach from like early mid 90s, who a lot of people ended up basing their training styles off of, or just like, like used his knowledge to help develop their own style. He was like, after 2 sets, man, like if you need to do more, usually you didn't do enough in those first 2 sets. So I think after 2 sets or 2 rounds of a stack, you're going to maximize the return, and you might get additional benefits in 3, 4, and 5 rounds of that, but how much is going to cost you in recovery? And again, like that's really what it comes down to, is as you age, it's less about losing the ability to have an excellent performance. It's being able to do that excellent performance again without having enough rest, right? Like Kobe, MJ, like those dudes could still come and drop. Well, maybe not MJ anymore, but MJ even 5-10 years ago could probably still come out and drop 40 to 50, but then he won't be able to walk for a week, right? So that's really what happens. So you can't put yourself in a position where you just fucking pound your body and just make it a masochistic experience. It's about stimulating, not annihilating. And that's really the big shift that I've started to make. I've also, frankly, just because, one of the things I noticed when I started learning how to box, I went in the first day, and the group before me, it's a group of people with Parkinson's. And boxing has been shown in studies, and obviously in the work they do with these people with Parkinson's, to be incredibly effective for improving cognitive function and helping alleviate some of the symptoms or slow down the progression of the disease. So as you get older, the importance of training your brain is more important than ever. It's part of the reason why I'm trying to plug in some more of these boxing skill-based routines, because not only is it a fun way to get your cardiovascular work, but we're moving in all planes of motion. We're working hand and foot coordination. We are doing things that express your fitness in a way that isn't just like curl, press, like not like robot. Like a lot of people used to make jokes that the Soviet style of training was so like everything was about this move. There wasn't like a lot of the theories and why like the U.S. used to beat the Soviets in competition was that the U.S. had a better blend of their training, right? There was more of a lot of Olympic athletes would do multiple sports when they grew up. They just had exposure to more things, and it wasn't just like isolated or even just compound movements over and over again. It was like, let's do some agility. Let's do some, speed conditioning. It just, that's now more important to me than ever. If I'm like in a situation where I don't want to really train that much that day, but I got to get something in, I'm in a box just because it flies by. I work everything. It's whole body. And I'm working things that I feel like are weaker for me because of how strength oriented I was in my 20s and early 30s. So, those are the big changes. One thing I'll say, like I'm gaining function. That my footwork and coordination is better than it's ever been. My conditioning is better than it's ever been. I still have the ability to go ham, so to speak, whenever I need to. I do it. I pepper it in. And and part of what we do at the Gorilla Core and Gains is there's 3 phases that I rotate between throughout the year. So it's break things down into a quarter. And phase 1 is stamina and stability. Phase 2 is stamina and stability. Phase 2 is strength and size. Phase 3 is power and performance. So it intensifies over the course of that 3-month block, and then we return back to that. That's been a great way for me to not overwhelm my joints and my system too much. And then, that 3rd month is where things really start to pop, like heavier protocols, some more plyometric protocols, still lower impact, but you can't like that all the time. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about cycling things in and out more than ever. So kind of a long-winded way of saying, but yeah, man, I just, also other thing too, is I go more in a 10-day rotation than 7-day. So, like I'm not going to just absolutely have to do what's on paper that day if I don't feel like it anymore. I'm not going to just kill myself. If I know it's going to be a bad day, I'll just do something lighter, and I know I'll do better the next day anyway. And by having that 10-day rotation, it gives me 3 days where I can use some flexibility if I'm not up for it, had a bad night of sleep, stress in the business, etc. All right. Brandon, I appreciate that, man. It's going great. I finish almost every workout with about 5 rounds or 20 minutes of boxing. I do a couple weeks. I'll do just a full dedicated 15 round, 3-minute on, 1 minute off, hour of boxing. I've started adding into the routines, the daily BJ, because I've just found them to be so effective for like, I've crushed like 1,200 calories in an hour workout with my heart rate 150 to 170 plus throughout. Like there's no amount of metabolic conditioning with like resistance that can get you there. Like, because you just can't sustain it and you just can't move fast enough. Really, heart rate is about fast, explosive movements, and you just can't maintain that with a traditional, squat, push, pull, unless you circuit complex, which we do. But it's just so effective, and I know it's frustrating, and I hesitated because like I know people are going to get pissed about this, and because they're not going to get it right away. But I didn't either. The ladder stuff that I just recently showed, the agility ladder stuff, like that took me several months to finally feel comfortable enough to film and show on camera. And I do this for a living. So I just want you to be patient with it. Trust me, as just like you do with your resistance stuff. Like some of you now do push-ups in your sleep. It wasn't like that on day one. But if you commit to, working it, it's melting here. If you commit to being consistent with it, like sooner than later, you'll start to really enjoy it. And it's like anything. Once you get better at something, you start wanting to dig deeper and learn more about it. I really do recommend check out my buddy and boxing coach, Tony Jeffries. He's the best Instagram educator. He's got tons of drills you can check out too. But it's been great stuff. Let me see. Matthew says, can we talk you into adding more off-day cardio routines like your 10-minute warm-up? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's necessary, especially because what I'd rather have you do is find an outside the gym activity. I mean, like it doesn't necessarily have to be like not in the gym, but like boxing, MMA, pick up basketball. I want you to get the fuck out of the gym. I used to program stuff. People would do like 3 Metcon resistance style whole body workouts Monday, Wednesday, Friday, then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday would be cardio intervals. But it's just too much high intensity interval shit. It's just, you're just slamming your system with that. And it's just not fun. You're not going to be able to sustain it, but you will be able to sustain 3 whole body workouts a week, like you do here at the Daily BJ, and then adding 1 or 2 additional, like golfing, pickup basketball, racket ball, or tennis, maybe adding like an agility court field sport. And then the other day could be kind of more of like a rec, like a golf that's, it's not intense, but it's, you do 9 to 18 holes, you're getting a lot of activity in walking as long as you're not using the cart. So again, we talk about like important stuff as you age. It's skill-based stuff that gets you using your body and your brain, not just like jumping on a machine that requires no neuromuscular coordination and just, adding more intensity on top of intensity. So, I'm just telling you, like, that's not how I train anymore. It's not what I'd recommend anymore. And I don't want to push you guys in that direction. I rather you find a skill you can learn and get good at that you can build upon for the rest of your life, and then you actually can see the return to your training. Like you can go longer, you can move faster, that's what's exciting about it. So, I don't think there's value in it. And I guess that's my honest answer. Scott, I'm so happy to hear that, man. One thing you could look at adding too, there's these for the shadow boxing, these thing called egg weights. They're like $25 to $50, and they come in like 1, 1.5, and 2 pounds. And keep in mind, most boxing gloves are 16 ounces, so a pound. So this is like twice. The 2 pounds is twice the weight. So I'll do some round shadow boxing, holding these egg weights in my hands, and then when I take them off, like the punches, they just snap. They fly a lot faster. So it's a fun way to intensify the shadow boxing and then get that contrast when you put them down and you just go with your hands, or even just going back to the gloves. It's still 2 pounds versus 1. So you're going to throw the punches of the gloves a lot better too. So, but yeah, the shoulders and lats, but also like my shoulder mobility has never been better, because if you're throwing straights and hooks and uppercuts, you're basically moving your shoulder in all 3 planes of motion, especially that where people start to get junky on the shoulders is they lose protraction, because that's what your serratus right here along the rib cage, it's a protracting muscle. It pushes the shoulder blades away from each other. When you lose protraction, it affects your shoulder health a lot. But that's one of the biggest things. I've noticed so much improvements in shoulder mobility. The one thing is the reason I'm so adamant about you doing both stances, even though you'll suck in one of the stance. Like I'm still not as good in southpaw, but I'm like 80% comfortable in my southpaw versus orthodox. Because when I started learning, because Tony, the guy I'm learning from, he's orthodox, and he was always taught just focus on your main stance, because you'll get really good at your main stance. But for me, again, I'm not trying to be a pro boxer, and I'm more interested in training balance. When I was just doing orthodox only, my right hip was tightening up more, and I found I lost rotation on my upper back on one side. So it's really about symmetry and balance. And again, coordination wise, and by the way, some of the best boxers, they have the ability to switch between stances based on how the fight's going, what round of the fight it's in, whether they're facing a southpaw or orthodox opponent. So I think just you'll get a lot more coordination benefits out of it. Adam's asking, what fitness advice that you've given in the past would you recommend that we not follow anymore? There isn't much that I wouldn't recommend. I mean, there's I can't think of anything where it's like, oh shit, like I'm embarrassed. Well, that's not true. There's plenty of things I'm embarrassed about. Actually, here's a quick story. And I'll get into answering this too. Because you talk about like looking back on shit. I was supposed to do a casting call for, there's going to be a revamped version of a very popular extreme weight loss show. I'll let you figure out what that is. And I got the opportunity to do a casting call for it. And it was supposed to be yesterday afternoon. And one of the things that they required was like B-roll of stuff you've done in the past. So we've been working on that because I'm trying to build up bjgaddour.com and have like an umbrella site for what we do. And if someone doesn't know who I am, like this will be like my bio and everything else, my past work. So it was including like all my Men's Health DVDs, media appearances on CNN, GMA, local media, Men's Health Next Top Trainer reality show, like a bunch of this shit. And I'm looking at him like, I fucking hate that guy. I'm like, what a tool, what a douchebag. Like, because I can see me still trying to figure out who I am and trying to put on a performance, and thinking this is what people want. And luckily, it still resonated with enough people. But I know, like, it's so funny, too, like how we judge the mistakes people make in their teens and early 20s, even mid-20s. Like, I'm 36, and I'm finally figuring out who I am. I'm finally getting comfortable in my own skin. And the judgments we put on people that are, like, 16, 26, like, we got to be patient, right? We got to understand, like, they're still developing. By the way, your brain isn't even finished developing until your mid-20s, especially if you're a guy. There's a lot of, I guess it's less about the fitness advice, less about things that I would do. But anyway, getting to that casting call. So I got the video, we got like a sample of that video ready, but then I had a doctor's appointment. I hit some heavy traffic coming back in from the doctor's appointment, and I was starving. And I was like, you know what? I'm too hungry to do this fucking call. So I canceled, and that's it. I took myself out of consideration for the position. And 5 to 10 years ago, I would have sucked 100 dicks for that opportunity. But now I was too hungry to even consider it. That like, I just shared with my buddy Jeremy Scott, because like, like, what's happening to us? Like, well, part of it is I know like what I really am comfortable doing. I know my value. I also know that those things don't really matter. Like being on the cover of a magazine doesn't matter. It might make you feel better and give you some clout, but ultimately no one gives a shit. What people care about is, can you add value to their life? And can you continue to add value to their life? And that is way more important than any media appearance, any accolades, and so what's changed most is not necessarily, I've refined my training style. I've gotten smarter with it. I've gotten smarter with my diet. I found ways to get more flexibility in my diet and be less extreme. But what's changed the most, I think, is how I approach the fitness as a profession. And if anything, like I'm at the stage now where I'm trying, starting with the clothing, I'm trying to get to the point where I have an exit strategy for fitness if I want to, in 5 years, 5 to 10 years. Like maybe I'll exit, maybe I won't, but at least I'll build things out so that I can exit if I'm no longer someone people want to listen to or look at or whatever else. So that's the thing that's changed the most in terms of like, doing ab workouts, shit like that. Like I stand by almost every routine I've shared in the past. At the same time, like, all the workouts I give you here monthly are all you need to do for that month. So I don't think there's any additional benefit to adding that extra stuff in. So I guess the choice is yours. I've heard you mention a protein switch. Yeah, so the latest protein research is that you need about 30 to 40 grams of complete protein. If it's plant-based, it's going to be on the higher end of that to turn on what's called muscle protein synthesis, the anabolic switch in your body. So again, I don't want you to be anal about it, but that's what the latest protein research says. And it means that that's how you can max out the benefit from that meal. Like 20 grams would not be enough to flip that switch in most cases. So as long as you're getting like 4 ounces of animal protein or a cup of animal protein or 30 grams of animal protein, you're good. If you're plant-based, you probably want to go 40 plus because, again, you need more overall amount of plant protein to hit the complete blend of amino acids you need. And then you want to space it out about 3 to 4 hours because that you want peaks and valleys with your protein intake. Otherwise, your body becomes desensitized to the amino acids. So that's not good either. Said I'm missing anything. See what else we got. So I'll go to another question here. I'm a new member joining in May from Brad Tunnel. Welcome. I'm in my early 50s. Congratulations on keeping it going, baby. I love that. And been enjoying the challenge and the variety of the workouts. First question, we discussed thought behind doing 6 workouts a month versus doing 3 or 4. You mentioned the welcome video about the body needing 3 to 4 exposures in any given workout to maximize the benefits. So I was curious to how come you chose 6 per month means hitting a workout twice. So first to that, because I'm giving you the blend of structure and variety. It is ideal to do a single workout 4 times per month, yes, but it's boring for most people. So again, part of my job as a programmer is not necessarily what is just optimal from a programming standpoint, but it's also what is going to keep you coming back on a monthly basis and keep enjoying the routines. And what I found is that 2 exposures gives you the ability to beat your previous performance, but make it more fun from a variety standpoint. If you wanted to pick your 3 favorite workouts from each month and then do those Monday, Wednesday, Friday 4 times, you could do that as well. It's just, it's not as much variety, more structure. So again, everybody's different. You've got that ability if you want, but I don't want you doing 6 workouts a week because all that will happen is instead of 3 kick-ass workouts, you're going to do 6 okay workouts, and you're going to probably not get the same amount of intensity benefits. You might get the volume benefits of doing twice as much training, but again, you won't have the intensity at those sessions the way I want them to be. So that's why, again, like it's programming is as much, sets and reps, it is psychology. If you're dreading repeating a workout, again and again, or you're not as excited about doing it, that's a part you have to consider as well. And that's part of my job is to give the blend, for all the different types of people coming to the site and staying involved. Second question, what are your thoughts on doing something like a specific body part finish or after before the workout? If you do it, I would do it after because, let's say we had pull-ups on the docket for your main workout and you did like a bicep or back finisher, your pull-ups are going to suck during the main workout. You have to modify with something easier like inverted rows. So if you're going to do a finisher, add it into the end of the workout, in my opinion, unless it was so important to you. Yeah, technically you want to do what's most important when you're fresh and focused. So if you do, you want to then make sure you adjust what's coming in the main workout, but you have to really know training to do so. And I can't program for that, knowing that people would do different things, etc. Are they overkill, helpful, waste of time? If the goal is to add some size and strength, muscle pump, and you have fun with it, adding a 5 to 10 minute finisher or a couple of finishers that last 5 to 10 minutes, I've got no problem with it. Not necessary. So a lot of it is trial and error on your part. If you enjoy adding that in, if you see something I share on social media for a certain body part you want to add in, feel free. Just make sure it doesn't take away from the main workouts. Hope that helped, Brad, and welcome to the site, man. Let's see what else we got here. Guys, if you're coming in too, just for those new or not familiar with the format, you just pump in your question in the comments, and then I will answer here live. So if I don't see questions, I'm just gonna go to the phone with the ones that were sent in for those that couldn't make it. Advice on sustaining a long, successful marriage. Wow. Well, I think it all starts with marrying your best friend. That's my wife, man. Like that, we are my two best friends in the world are my little brother and my wife, and like that makes all the difference in the world, because no matter what struggles you have, if you genuinely enjoy the person's company and they add value to your life and they make you better, it makes the tougher times you inevitably will go through in any relationship, especially a long-term one, makes it much easier to weather those storms. So that's my best advice. But again, I'll stick to my forte and go back to the fitness there. But that's my best advice. Yeah, skill work means that it's something that takes practice to acquire, to get good at, but also that you can build upon indefinitely, right? So shadow boxing is a component of boxing, which is the skill. So I'm not sure what you mean about, is it too intense? Again, like anytime you add something in new, it's going to increase the demand to your recovery, but your body will adapt. So you won't know until, you start adding in. But what I'll tell you is this, what I find is most people, the average person is good with 3 times a week. You get a day of rest between workouts and then 2 full days in the weekend. That is like the ultimate sustainable longevity plan. When you get really fit and super advanced, even then, every 2 or 3 days of training, you're going to want to have 1 day off for like very low intensity active recovery based. And even if you feel good on that 4th day, you'll almost want to kind of handicap yourself and require it, because at some point you'll hit the wall if you are constantly throwing too much in your system. So, in general, every 3 days of good training will be followed by like just, 1 to 2 hour hike or beach walk with the dogs, mobility work, just really relaxed, like nothing in the gym type day. And that's a flow, I think, that is super sustainable for those that are on the real high end of it, pursuing, stuff beyond, just general fitness. So Matthew is asking, any way we can advance some of this equipment we'll need for the next month's workouts? No, because a lot of times I will use as much time as I have each month in the mouth and change things. And I also have to look back on all the past workouts and see what I want to add back in. All of our equipment is at Garden of Gains. Let me type that in. So you can see all the stuff that we're only going to use that stuff. Like there's only X amount of stuff we'll ever use. Okay, where is it? I'm going to put the site in, I'm going to put it in the comments here. There you go. So that's where all the equipment is. That's all the stuff we'll ever use. But all we really use here are dumbbells, kettlebells, resistance bands, mini bands, landmine occasionally, that single-sided barbell setup. The stability ball was kind of worked its way in. We started working in some ladder stuff, but like you can modify and do other stuff that way, use sliders. Like that's all the stuff we'll ever use. I mean, that's it. This is a home workout site that you can take to the gym if you want. So all the stuff has to be very home travel friendly, and that's all the stuff you'll ever see. So I can't really give you any exact indication until we launch that month's program, because there's just it's just not how my process works, I guess. But rest assured, that's all the stuff we'll ever use. So eventually you're gonna have to get all of it. Once you have that stuff, you're gonna be good to go. Let me see here. Dan says, thanks again for always providing such great content with minimal equipment. Father of a 2-year-old, congratulations. The workouts fit perfectly into 5-minute routine. Regarding current training split, how has it changed, if at all, since you have incorporated more boxing style workouts? Are you doing the classic upper lower split or mixing up with 3-minute round work? So again, like what I do is different than the daily BJ, because I'm focusing on some different stuff. I still kind of plug in some Metcon stuff, but so my current split is pretty much upper, lower, and then 1 hour conditioning with boxing. And I'll still do some boxing to end my 40-minute gorilla corn workouts on those upper lower days. And then usually the 4th day is off, and then I keep repeating that rotation, upper lower conditioning, which is boxing. That's what I'm doing right now. But again, don't worry what I'm doing. It's not at all related to what we're doing at the daily BJ. So, but you asked, that's what I'm rocking with. And again, guys, like obviously I benefit if you join GorillaCornGains.com, because it's so much more expensive, but don't let don't compare yourself or what you're doing to somebody else's plan if you're finding that what you're currently doing fits your needs. Don't worry about that's like the biggest thing. The comparative bullshit gets you beat in fitness. If I had kids and I had a different career, I would be doing the daily BJ. I would not be fucking around with the more intense workouts that take more time. Oh shit, I gotta go back. Computer's saying, hopefully I get out of the sun here. I may have to take this inside. If something cuts for a second because the computer's overheating. California's no joke. So yeah, that's important, guys. Like, and again, it doesn't mean, even though I'm not currently doing the routine you're following, it doesn't mean that it's not extremely effective. If anything, like these routines are like super challenging. I become a bit of a pussy, I guess, with Metcon. It's just so tough. I prefer more of the upper lower splits. But anyway, it's again, like I'm telling you, I'm honestly, if I had a corporate job and I had kids, I wouldn't have time for anything but those 3 30-minute workouts a week. So day one TDBJ member, welcome Dan. Just finished PT for lower back injury and need to strengthen my core. Are the one-off workouts like superhero shoulders routine from the old site available anywhere? I don't know. If anything, it would be at YouTube, youtube.com/BJ Gaddour or this channel. But I don't know. There's plenty of shoulder work that you get in these workouts. Stability and mobility are of the utmost importance to the program that I have at the site because, again, we have a lot of people that are over 30, over 40, 50. So, longevity piece, the sustainability piece is critical to what we do, and the built-in warm-up piece of it. Also, the 10-minute warm-up we do on the site, there's a lot of good movements in there for the shoulders, the hips, and the core. What's up, son? King Kong, come here. Come say hello. Come here. Come on up. Come on. Come on. Look at that. Look at that. This guy gives the best kisses. Watch. He doesn't even resist. Good boy. There's water inside. Yeah, so I don't know where that is. It's not that it's not good. It's just you're getting, how do I put this? Instead of constantly trying to add, simplify. You're getting what you need on a monthly basis. So yeah. How do you decide what your goal should be? What metric do you use to know you're hitting the goal? Jeff, man, I don't even know. Well, it depends on the goal. To me, most goals in my life now are just compliance based. I don't really give a shit about, how much I can pull up or how many push-ups I can do. Some people like that stuff. So again, whatever drives you. I don't like competitive stuff. I don't really care as much about performance metrics. To me, I just want to make sure I keep getting in. I just want to keep checking off the boxes when it comes to my workouts, my meals, etc. And I'm playing the longevity game at this point. So that's it. Compliance. My whole thing is if you just stay consistent, everything else falls into place. It always has for me. And that's what I use. If you need a more analytical approach because you have a more analytical mind, then that's up to you to figure out what you would kind of work off of. But I also think it overcomplicates it. Like fitness, to me, fitness should be such a small part of your life. I think a lot of, and I guess someone asked earlier, what would you change your approach? I used to try to find ways to make fitness as much of your life as possible. And now I'm just trying to do the exact opposite because you're going to burn out and you're going to get overwhelmed with it. And also just for my own personal sanity, when it's a job or a career, I could care less about fitness like I've never done in my life before. If I listen to a podcast, it's about sports, pop culture more than anything else now. I do a lot of I watch a lot of boxing and old boxing matches. So I've been trying to get myself as much away from fitness as possible, and I find when I do fitness, I enjoy it more. So I want it to be a very small part of your life that still enhances everything else, but I don't want you to be I'm not trying to push you being obsessed with fitness. I don't want you to be the person at dinner, talking the whole time about your workouts and the way you eat and your supplements. I mean, you know who we're talking about. I used to be that guy. And when I see people do it now, I'm like, oh my God, that's what I fucking sounded like. And I must have been such a fucking drag around the people who I used to hang out with. But yeah. Adam, I'm not going to step into that can of worms about who I wouldn't recommend following. I mean, I think it's pretty clear where the Men's Health brand stands today compared to what it used to be. I'll leave it at that. And whoever they're using now, they're using now. And I think if you follow me, you're informed enough to probably figure out, who's legit and who isn't. And I think what you go off of is, ideally, they have a track record of having worked with people in the past and continue to do so in some format, whether it be online, offline, or both. They live it. There's a passion behind it. They're not just marketers. They don't just have good genetics. Like, usually there's a story there. Like, did they have a good story? Did they, not that they had to have been fat or skinny, but like, can they empathize with what you're going through, right? And that's a big part of, I think, what's made me able to do this for a long time is I can empathize with people that have been injured. I can empathize with people that have been overweight. I can empathize in how hard it is to stay into fitness and stick with it over the long haul and maintain the results, if not build upon them, with the ebbs and flows of life, because that's my life. So I think that's how you want to go about judging whether people are good enough to follow. And really, though, honestly, like, what it all really comes down to is, what do people look like? That's it. Like, I came to that realization recently, and like on Instagram, like I half the workouts I share there are like workouts I've shared before. People don't even notice. You might, but like most people don't even notice because it doesn't really fucking matter. It's a push-up, it's a squat, it's a press, it's a lunge. We're gonna just do these the rest of our lives. Some people find ways to make them look more fun and innovative, but ultimately, like, it's how you look. And then, obviously, if people like the workouts, then they keep doing them. That's helpful too. There's a choreography to it. There's, it's not just programming. It's what will people enjoy doing enough to keep coming back, and that's the secret sauce, I think, to what a lot of people do. Everybody's got a different approach. Dave Jack is the man. Dave Jack is, like, you're not going to find. I talk about this a lot with Dave Jack himself and also my buddy Jeremy Scott. Like, he's there's no one better. Like, he's just honestly, he's not selfish enough to be the household name that he would be if he was more selfish and more interested in his career. He's a man that likes to give to others. He's very into his faith. But man, what a gift he has. Maybe the most versatile, talented person that's ever been in fitness. I'm just being honest. Like, if I had Dave Jack's talent, I'd be, well, I'm living the retired life now, but I wish I had his talent, but I don't, and I do the best I can with what I've got. But he is truly, like, he's a master class when it comes to fitness. Everything that I think someone would aspire to be, the credibility, the knowledge. Nobody's better on camera. He can write. He makes fitness more than just about sets and reps. It's about the impact in your life. I mean, he's just got such a good message, incredible speaker. I mean, like, he makes me moist. I don't know what to tell you. Sean T is excellent as well. Again, like, I think Jay Merrick is JTM Fit. He's excellent. The Jeff Cavalier guy, like, again, like, numbers don't lie. I think he's the biggest name on YouTube. I don't really follow any of his stuff personally. I don't really use YouTube. So, and maybe that's why I have such a shitty YouTube channel. But even though I just started it recently, but I just don't do much on YouTube. Again, like, I'm just being honest with you guys. I don't really. I'm not really into fitness as much anymore. And most of the stuff I come up with is just through trial and error and experience at this point. I do it that way as well because I don't like my style to be, I don't want to be, a lot of people steal other people's shit. I like to make my stuff more organically, and that's just been my style for a long time. But I will admit that in my free time, I have never invested less time into fitness than I do today. So just being honest with you on that. I will say, if you're going to make a fitness DVD, you might want to have at least trained one client before in your entire life. And that was one person on that list, by the way, who did not. And had somebody else, had a group of people design his program for him because he didn't know how to do it. So take that as it is. Let me see, unless there's another question here, let me get to another one. Peter Shanahan, new to the program. July is my first month. Really enjoy the whole program. Like the variety, like listening to your podcast. I know you don't like follow-along videos and realize that with a variety of workouts, a new program every month, it would be very impractical for you to do so. Would you consider doing a follow-along for the warm-up sequence? I know that I'm new to the program and need to commit the sequence to memory, but it would be so much easier to just follow along, do the routine now where I look at the sheet, check the timer, start the stop. Peter, I appreciate that. There's going to be no follow-along stuff. Like, again, I've been very upfront about this. Like, it's just instructional. For my health and standpoint, mental health mainly, it would take $1 million for me to do another follow-along video. I just fucking hate it so much. And I want as much as possible. Like, the people I want to join this site are not people just for a month or 2 or 3. Like, this is their approach for a long time. And in doing so, they get good at knowing what the movements are. And because, we're going to be doing the same movement patterns every month. The equipment might change. The flow might change. The work rest periods might change. But if you do this for 6 to 12 months, like, this is going to be like, it's going to be to memory, a lot of this stuff, or you can just reference, I can, do this, that. So, again, I'm not trying to be a dick. We set this up in a way that's sustainable, that I'd be willing to do this for a long time. And for us, this is the setup that we can fulfill that'll give you guys the best results. And the PDFs, again, like, they're really easy to check and they can print them. And like that 10-move warm-up, you do that for a week, it should be committed to memory. And if anything, it's part of good brain training. And I'm not bullshitting you. Like, when I design workouts now, I do have a photographic memory with it. I can see the sheet in my head. So I don't have a list of anything. I just go with the timer, and I think you can get there at some point. But just be honest. Like, I just don't want to do follow along. I will never say never. If every man has their price, but that's just not what we promised. So it's just not part of this offering. So I'm sorry about that. What to look for in buying a whey protein? Do you have 2 or 3 favorites? So you want to get a grass-fed whey. It'll be the highest quality. You want to ideally get one too where a single serving or scoop is at least 30 grams. Otherwise, you have to get like a scoop and a half. If it's like 20 grams, you need a scoop and a half to get that 30 gram minimum. You want about 30 to 40 grams of protein per feeding to get the best response. So grass-fed is ideal, and organic grass-fed whey is good. I use the one from Athletic Greens, but that's about it. I use a lot more plant protein powder, to be honest. And one thing that's interesting too, people like, you don't have to go vegan to make a more ethical, environmental friendly choice. If you have 1 to 2 protein shakes a day as part of your meal plan, and you go from whey to plant-based protein, that's half of your protein intake is now from plants. That's a significant change and benefit to the environment. So again, like, everybody's got to go to the extremes, but what ends up happening when you go to the extremes is you end up coming back. You do. Like, not a lot of people can do those extreme diets for more than a couple of years. They come back. They stop. So, but in terms of whey protein recommendations, just an organic grass-fed whey, you want to get a minimum of 30 grams a serving. Ideally, naturally sweetened with something like stevia. Again, like a little bit of Splenda or other sweeteners is not bad if it's in moderation. If you have a lot of protein powder, you probably want to choose one that is more plant-based, stevia-based, better long-term option. So, Sonic says, definitely gets easier to remember the workouts quickly. Yeah, so if you're new, I could see, again, anytime you're new, there's a learning curve. But, you'll get it. All right, let me get another one here. Good question. Joel asks, I do 30-minute Metcon workouts 3 times a week. Then I do a vigorous 30-minute recovery walk on the off days, burn 400 calories in the Metcon, 200 in the recovery. When does the recovery walk go beyond recovery? So to me, shit. The sun keeps shifting. Let me bring this inside to finish. Kong, be good. Sorry, guys. It's a little messy inside. So there we go. So a recovery workout starts to shift to, a real workout when you go from the sustain zone to the pain zone, meaning like, do your muscles start burning? Do you have trouble breathing? So, that's pretty critical for, put some light in here. That's how I gauge like my recovery stuff. Like again, it's recovery. So it should stimulate, to get the blood flowing, to get you moving, your joints, getting blood sent to the joints, full range of motion movements. But if you start you have to you're conking out on your breath, or your muscles start to burn too much, you're entering the pain zone. That's now intense training. So that's how I would look at it. It's not based on a number of calories. Like I went for Monday was a recovery day for me, and we went for a 2-hour hike in the canyons here in Malibu. But at no point did I ever. It's long, and a lot of calories were burned, maybe even more than some of our workouts because of the length of it. But it was never something that was like we couldn't finish. Or my muscles were so sore and they were burning so bad and I couldn't breathe. It was just a good, steady, continuous pace in the sustain zone, not the pain zone. So that in recovery, it's all about staying out of the pain zone, getting blood flowing and stimulating the body. Rex on plant-based protein. Stay right here. I'm going to grab what I use. I don't have any supplement affiliation. I don't get any affiliate commissions. This one is you can get from Sam's Club or Whole Foods. I think even probably on Amazon. It's a pretty solid one. My wife likes this one a lot. I'll use it occasionally, but what I use mainly is I think it's Ladder. Well, it is Ladder. I get Ladder, but it's Ladder protein. And let me usually have 2 packets in the morning with the Athletic Greens powder. It has one packet has there's no artificial sweeteners, no proprietary blends, gold standard. It's basically just a mix of plant proteins, and each packet has 2 grams of fiber, only 2 grams of sugar, and where's the protein amount? 21 grams of protein. So I had 2 packets because again, plant protein, you want to get 40 grams or more because it just takes a greater overall amount to get the full blend of essential amino acids than animal protein. So I'll have 2 packs of that in the morning with Athletic Greens and cold water. I'll have my coffee, and that's how I start the day. And by the way, I'm gonna do the best way to start a new diet podcast soon on my podcast, and I'll talk about that stuff too. Good compliment to what you guys are doing at the site. Dan Gomez says he likes Garden of Life, so there's another option. Z-Sonic says he likes Vega, Planta. So there are lots of options. Just try to make sure it's these are also, again, no artificial sweeteners. And again, you want to get to that 40-gram total, ideally, in my opinion. Or not really my opinion. That's the protein research. If it changes, then it changes, but that's at least what we know right now. Mobility training or stretching routines. No, because that's not what we offer at the site, and we offer that at Gorilla Corn Gains. So if you want more and you want to invest more in that, my full series on that is at GorillaCornGains.com. But a lot of the workouts I built in mobility to it, the 10-minute routine will give you whole body mobility benefits. And again, like I get it. I mean, no one's gonna be upset if they get more added to the site. It's just that's not what this site is. It's just fat loss workouts every month. So we have no plans of adding anything more to that, and that's pretty much about it. And if you look at the hashtag Netflix and Stretch on Instagram, you'll see a ton of past mobility videos. But part of building a business is setting up in a way from the beginning that you're willing to fulfill for the long haul. And this is how we've set it up. And I get you might want more than that's there, but that's what we're providing. And at least rest assured, like you're getting, there's no better fat loss workouts you're going to find. People might have other approaches, but end of the day, in 30 minutes, you're not going to find a way to move more and movements that are safe, effective, and sustainable that you can do anytime, anywhere. That's really what this site is. It's not a mobility site. It's not a nutrition site. So I know that's not at all the answer you would like. I'm just being honest that we're not. We've already created what we're willing. Like we've already added in. We added the beginner boot camp. We added the warm up already. We added this live stream. So, hope that. I know that's not the answer you want, but that's the answer I have. Caffeine-free pre-workouts, other kind of energy boosters. I don't, because caffeine is like the only proven energy supplement that I know of with long-term research. So again, that's what people overlook too, is a lot of it is just hydration. So if you're not getting enough hydration, that's one of the fastest ways you'll get fatigued and performance will decrease. But I personally do not know of any legit non-caffeine based pre-workout that actually works. I've tried some other ones. I feel nothing. Caffeine works 100% of the time, every time. So, but if you have an issue with caffeine, I get it. I try to make sure that I don't have too much after 2 or 3 p.m. because it can affect my sleep. Ladder, the company I just mentioned too, has a good pre-workout that does have caffeine, but it has caffeine, creatine, and beta-alanine. And so caffeine gives you that focus and energy boost without calories. Creatine is good for shorter duration, higher intensity bouts of effort. And the beta-alanine is good for medium to longer duration bouts of effort. So it kind of covers both standpoints to give you a little more, fuel during the workout. I like it a lot. Tastes good. So Matthew says, the only move of yours that messed me up, and I've been with you since Delta Fit, was the sprawl from this month's set of workouts, the kettlebell flip down on me. Now, Matthew, I'm sorry to hear that, but at the same time, I did go out of my way to mention that you want to make sure that the bell you're using has a really wide, stable base, to be cautious with it. But, at the same time, if you're going to do this shit for a long period of time, you're going to have your, you're going to fuck up every once in a while. You're going to get a band in the eye. You're going to get, it's law of averages at some point. But I think I did go in great detail with how important it was to have a very wide, stable base in the kettlebell and to take your time with the movement because of the degree of risk that can come with it flipping. So there's a balancing act of me trying to give you the simple, basic moves, but also, I got to mix things up enough so something's new, interesting. So just take your time with it and get yourself a wide kettlebell, or just skip the movement, or show the dumbbell hack or use the dumbbell hack that I showed in the video, where you put the dumbbell, a wide base dumbbell, on a step or box to modify the range of motion and do it off of that. So there's lots of options. But I'm sorry to hear that you had had that moment. I have. When's the last ridiculous thing that's happened to me in a workout? Well, when I was learning to box, man, it was basically like fucking up every other minute. Panish says, I did in the kettlebell, did the 4th and 5th round of the burpee with hands on the ground. Well done. Let me see. I know we have. Oh, we should be done, but let me see if I have one more question I can get answered on. Where's the phone? Oh, I lost my phone. Oh, there it is. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to see if I can get. This is the last one. Love the workouts. Stability one killed me. Towel definitely needed. Played a lot of basketball in high school and college, starting to realize the inflexibility of my ankles has caused limited range of motion, squatting, leading to poor form or overcompensation in those areas. Any exercise for bands, foam rollers, and equipment that will increase my ankle mobility. What is the cadence on these exercises in a given week? Thanks for simplifying my gym life. Victor Angeline IV. Wow. You're like your legacy. I like that. So the best, I think I show some ankle mobility stuff. Let me actually pull it up. I've got one here. It's a knee pain video, but I do show some ankle mobility on it. Let's see here. I'm going to post it right in the comments. Did I not? Oh, shite. Okay. I posted the wrong thing. So here's the link to the video. You'll see some it's for knee pain, but there's ankle mobility is important for knee pain. I love doing extended calf raises. It's great too for long duration, 2 to 3 minute sets. I like to do it off the sand dune stepper you see at thegardenofgains.com. And there's also, if you get the book, Becoming a Supple Leopard, great ankle mobility. I put it in there too. Like literally mobility drills, tons, like every mobility drill you'd ever do for every joint, including the ankles. Becoming a Supple Leopard, you can get on Amazon. It's one of the few books that I reference on a regular basis. Like Dr. Kelly Starrett, a physical therapist, he does it better than me. He's better at mobility than me. So again, I let the Michael Jordans of the individual field do their thing, and that's the best follow. I highly recommend it. You'll get all the drills there that you need. So chalk with the I like that little chalk action. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me for July. Keep training hard. Make sure to turn on your app notifications. We send notifications on the app. Appreciate your support. And those that are interested in the shorts, we're launching those in a few weeks. So stay tuned. Keep training hard. Keep showing up. Love you guys. Peace.